The year is 1980. We have just seen a rough cut of the film that you all know as The Empire Strikes Back, and blasphemy of blasphemies. We're going to fix it. Cue the intro.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Mirror Movie Universe podcast. I'm Nate. I'm one of the hosts of the show, one half of the shindig, and across the aisle and across the country from me is my co-host and older brother, Dan. Say hello, Dan.
Hey, everybody. You can think of me like the Yoda to your Obi-Wan.
What?
Yeah,
That doesn't,
I'd be
that
like
doesn't make,
Yoda, your Obi-Wan Kenobi.
well,
Two old Force ghosts guiding the thing. I don't know.
I guess. Well, it's a good enough analogy. Luckily, well, yeah, it's about as good as we're going to get because there aren't any siblings in Empire Strikes Back, as you know. So, before we talk about what we like about Empire Strikes Back, and oh boy, there's a lot, and what we would fix about Empire Strikes Back, and oh boy, there's not a lot of that. Um,
We'll
um,
see. We'll see.
yeah, we're gonna have to talk about what happens in Empire Strikes Back. So, this is a direct sequel to Star Wars, somewhat confusingly in 1980, titled Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Star Wars was re-released under Episode 4, A New Hope, in the grand scheme of things, in order to create a larger franchise that starts in the middle, which is kind of a ballsy move, George Lucas.
Very much.
Interesting. But Empire Strikes
I
Back
really
opens.
hope he has plans for all 9 of them.
I hope he's got plans for all 9 of them, and I hope that nothing gets contradicted or retconned stupidly. So anyway, Empire Strikes Back opens with the same kind of title crawl. The rebels are now hiding away, and Darth Vader is searching for them. This is basically all you need to know. The rebels are on this icy world called Hoth, and Luke and Han Solo are hopping around on these lizard creatures called tauntauns. And a mysterious robot smashes into the ground like a meteorite. And this is a probe droid. It's an evil Empire droid that's spying on the system. And it alerts Darth Vader to the rebels' presence. After an encounter with an ice creature that leaves him injured for a few days, Luke comes back to the rebel base, and they are having a wonderful time, but they're discovered by the Empire. The Empire sends a huge army force of giant robot camels, and it's very cool. It doesn't sound very cool, but trust me, it's very cool. And they attack the Rebel Alliance. They lose. They lose horribly to this ground assault by the Imperials. They're all running away. A bunch of people die. They get into transports and leave the planet under the protection of this giant space gun thing. And Darth Vader enters the rebel base and chases everybody out. Everyone kind of gets separated out. Luke, with R2-D2, one of the droids from the first movie, flies away in an X-Wing. And Han Solo and Princess Leia, who've kind of been flirting for the first part of the movie. That's new, interesting. Fly away with Chewbacca and C-3PO on board Han Solo's ship, the Millennium Falcon, just as Vader's about to grab them. Now, where's Luke going? When Luke was attacked by the ice creature and he was kind of stumbling through the snow, half frozen to death, he encountered a vision, a ghost of Obi-Wan Kenobi, who died in the first film. Obi-Wan tells him to go to the Dagobah system. Dagobah's a planet, and he will learn from Yoda, the Jedi Master who instructed Obi-Wan Kenobi. And as we all know, who we've seen the prequels, Yoda was definitely Obi-Wan Kenobi's master, and it's not contradictory at all. But Luke remembers this, and when running away from the rebel base, he decides to go there. He's going to meet this great Jedi warrior dude. Han Solo and Princess Leia are running away in the Falcon that just can't seem to get its engines problems solved throughout this entire movie. Their hyperdrive's not working, and they hide in an asteroid field. And we do a bit of this back and forth.
Seems
Vader,
odd for the ship that made the castle run in 14.2 parsecs.
12 parsecs.
Whatever it was.
Yeah. I corrected him, internet. You don't need to. Trust me. We got this covered. Now, Vader seems weirdly obsessed with finding the Millennium Falcon. He hires a bunch of bounty hunters to go after it, even though he's basically the dictator of the galaxy, only under the Emperor, who we meet when Vader calls him on a holographic Zoom call, and he's super obsessed with it. Finds out that the pilot that destroyed the Death Star has the last name of Skywalker, and he is interested in turning him to the dark side of the Force. I didn't mention in my episode 4 Star Wars summary, but there's a dark side to the Force that Vader is involved in. So meanwhile, Luke shows up on Dagobah. It's a very swampy planet. He crashes his spaceplane X-Wing into a swamp and only barely escapes before it sinks under the water. Now, he can't get off the planet. There's no inhabited civilizations there, and he's stuck with R2-D2 just hanging out. This weird little Muppet creature guy. He looks like a Muppet, but he's wrinkled and green.
He kind of looks like if Kermit and Miss Piggy had a baby.
A little. He shows up, he's only a few feet tall, and starts stealing Luke's food, and Luke kind of chastises him, and this little creature realizes he can speak English. He realizes that Luke is looking for Yoda, this great warrior who's hiding out on the planet, and he takes Luke to his house in order to go rest for the night before they go out and find Yoda. Well, it turns out, after Luke is rather disrespectful to this guy, that this is the great warrior Yoda, who is small in stature but should not be judged by his size. And the Force voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi, which appeared as a ghost in this film and helped Luke sink that torpedo into the Death Star in episode 4, appears and convinces Yoda to train Luke. There's some cryptic things about Luke's father and how that training didn't go particularly well. But they begin. Luke starts flipping around and standing on his head and lifting up rocks with his mind, and it's all very cool. In the middle of this, Luke ventures into this cursed cave on Dagobah and finds Darth Vader there. Holy crap! Oh my God, it's the big bad guy. And they fight for a bit, and Luke chops off his head, and it turns out to be Luke's head. And it kills the pacing of the movie, and it's not that good. It's kind of cryptic and weird. Luke has a vision that his friends are going to get into some trouble and then they're going to be in pain. And so he decides to cut off his Jedi training and leave. And Obi-Wan and Yoda caution him against this and say he's going to get hurt. But he does anyway. After the asteroid field, meanwhile, Han and Leia, who did a little smooching in an asteroid, decide to go to a place called Cloud City, which is this floating city in the clouds of a planet called Bespin that's run by an old friend or old rival of Han's named Lando Calrissian. And they land at this Cloud City place to hide from the Empire while they're on the run. And Lando Calrissian takes them in and wines and dines them. He's this big shot administrator, and he's very cool. He's played by Billy D. Williams, and Billy D. Williams is very cool. It soon turns out that C-3PO goes missing, and they're kind of worried about him. And Lando's like, don't worry about it, Han. And they're all ready to have dinner, and they open up the doors into this banquet hall kind of thing. And who's there? Holy crap, it's Darth Vader.
For real this time.
For real this time. And Han Solo whips out his DL-44 blaster. This is my replica of a DL-44 blaster. It's made of real metal. I made it myself. And he shoots Darth Vader a whole bunch, but Darth Vader just catches the laser bolts in his hand and then uses the Force, and this thing flies over and he catches it, and it's all very cool. And they are captured. Turns out that Han Solo is a wanted man, wanted by Jabba the Hutt, and one of the bounty hunters that Darth Vader hired wants him to bring him to Jabba the Hutt for a reward. So they take Han Solo down to a carbon freezing chamber where they're going to encase him in this icy blocks material, and they put him in this little pit. And just before he's about to go into the pit and get frozen, Leia breaks out of someone's hold and says, "I love you." Han Solo looks at her and says, "I know," and he gets frozen in carbonite, and it's really cool. They are going to take Han Solo away, and they're all very mad at Lando because he betrayed them to the Empire, and that's how this happened. Luke shows up in his X-wing, and they plan to freeze him too, so that they can take him to the Emperor. I don't know why I still have the gun in my hand. I'm going to put that down. It's very heavy.
Good call.
Yeah,
this is gonna get flagged somewhere on YouTube. Somebody's gonna be like, "I don't know, man." He had a
Yeah.
gun in his hand and felt threatened.
So Luke shows up. He confronts Vader, and they do some fighting in the carbon freeze chamber. Luke escapes down to this like lower section of the city. And Darth Vader's really got him on the rocks. Like he's kicking the crap out of Luke. Meanwhile, Lando gets some of his buddies in Cloud City to sort of free Leia and Chewie, and they go after Han Solo, who's been taken by a bounty hunter named Boba Fett in this ice block. And they're on their way to save him. Luke, meanwhile, is getting the crap kicked out of him, and he's on the edge of this little platform, and he gets his hand chopped off because Vader just goes and takes his hand off. Vader's like, "Hey, you should join with me and rule the galaxy. We'll beat the Emperor together, you and me." And Luke's like, "No way, I would never join you." And Vader says, "You know what? No, that's fair. That's fair. You know what? You just stay out there." No, that's not what happens. He's like, "Hey, Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father." And Luke says, "He told me enough. He told me that you killed him," which is true. That's what he said. And Vader says, "No, I am your father." And it's a big spoiler, and it's very cool. Now, Luke denies this, says that it's not true, and he just, in defiance, just jumps off the platform, presumably to his death. Leia and Lando and Chewie and a partially rebuilt C-3PO and R2-D2 are all running after Han. They don't quite get there. Boba Fett puts him in a ship and takes him away. And they get on in the Millennium Falcon and start to escape or give chase. But Leia somehow senses that Luke is in trouble. He's now hanging by this like little weather vane on the bottom of the city. He's about to fall a million miles to his death. And they go back at Leia's urging and get Luke, and they run away. And the last bit of the movie is them just kind of recouping because it's handed to them. But it's quite a lovely time, and I like it a lot. Dan, what do you like about Empire Strikes Back?
I mean, here's the thing. This film is pretty much universally regarded as the best Star Wars film.
For good reason, it is.
One of the best films of all time. So
For the reason it is, yeah.
Like, I can't crap on it, like people will hate me. So
Yeah.
everything is great. If I had to give like a couple call outs just quick,
Mm-hmm.
the twist that you mentioned is amazing. Like, it goes down in cinema history as one of the best. I think it's great that like they didn't tell anybody except Mark Hamill. Like
Yeah.
didn't tell anybody else.
They told the guy in the Darth Vader suit a different twist so that when he leaked it, it wouldn't be right.
Yeah.
Like that. Like, I love that. Yeah.
It's so good. The romance with Han and Leia is really nice. Yoda is fantastic. I mean, Frank Oz does an amazing job. Of course he does. He's done puppetry work with Jim Henson forever. Yoda is a fantastic character, and
if you can't tell
really
from
comes to life.
If you can't tell from listening to our Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles episodes, we love Jim Henson and the Muppets, and Yoda being one of them is it's just so wonderful. Yeah,
it's so well done. I actually do like Luke fighting Vader and then it revealing him. I think it's a really cool. It's a really cool way to visually show like the temptation of the dark side, right? Like, he could become evil. He could become Vader. He gets his hand cut off. Yeah. Like, Vader is more machine now than man. Like, he's going down that same path where he could turn into that. And so it's a really cool way to do that. It's not maybe the best way to describe it, but I think it's a really cool, visually striking way to do that. But what do you love about it? What do you love about this movie?
I mean, so I'm gonna jump on a thing that you said first. And I don't love the cave scene, but I love what they do with Vader leading up to the point where he's revealed as Luke's father. Because in episode 4, or just Star Wars for the purists out there, you don't know who or what Vader is. Is he a robot? Is he like an evil spirit? Like, what's going on with this guy? He just has a mask or whatever. But one of Vader's first scenes in Empire Strikes Back is this Imperial officer is looking at him through like the slits in this like chamber that he's in. Yeah, the helmet comes down real slow, and there's definitely just a dude under there. It's like, oh my god, he's a person. Like, what? Okay, he's a human person. What do we know about him? Absolutely nothing. But it sets the stage for the reveal later. Because if it's just like, I'm your father, like, oh, the robot guy's his father. No, they set it up and tease the audience. It's like, oh my God, that's a guy. Vader's a guy. That's a big reveal for people who hadn't seen it before. And I was always really intrigued at that as a kid. I was like, because I hadn't, like, the prequels hadn't come out yet when I saw this as a child. I was like, oh my God, what about, he's a dude. Who was this guy before? How did he become Vader? Like, all of this kind of stuff. He sets it up great. I love that they lose. I not just that they lose, but everyone loses in a specific way for that person, right?
Oh,
so
interesting.
For our main trio, right? Throughout the film, Leia does not want to become attached to Han. Han wants to keep running away, and Luke wants to become a Jedi. Leia becomes attached to Han and loses him, which is what she's afraid of. Han is caught and can no longer run anymore. And Luke quits his Jedi training and says, I can probably take on Vader by myself. His confidence goes, pow.
Yeah.
Like, it is structured in a way that they don't just lose, because they start losing in the first, like, fight. They don't just lose. Each character loses in a way that is the most poignant for them, that they've been set up for the entire movie. There's other movie franchises where, like the people just lose in the end, like Avengers Infinity War, like Thanos takes over the thing and half the people die or whatever. And they look at each other and one of them like looks into the camera and goes, did we just lose? Like they say it to somebody, they don't look into the camera, but it's like, yeah, but I don't really care. You guys are going to be fine. Because even after the losses in Empire Strikes Back, none of these characters are going to be the same ever again.
Yeah.
They lost in ways that profoundly affect them individually.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's wonderful. Lawrence Kasdan penned a great script, and George Lucas didn't direct this movie. I think Irvin Kershner did.
Yes.
And it's set up just wonderfully because they lose in the right ways. The wrong ways for them.
That's actually that's beautiful. That's really good insight. I love that.
Why, thank you, brother. But what is not beautiful about this movie, in your opinion? What would you fix up about Empire Strikes Back? Be careful, I have a blaster.
Yeah. So I'm very much looking forward to all the hate mail that we're going to get. And it's just like Taylor Swift says, the devil's in the details. But
you're going to do this in every...
In me.
You're going to do this in every Star Wars episode.
Nate, would it be enough if I could never give you peace? Anyway, yes, I am. So here's the thing.
You make me suffer, good sir. Sorry, continue. I have nothing against Taylor Swift. I just don't understand your proclivity for quoting this particular person in something completely non-related. Anyway,
an amazing singer-songwriter.
Your fix.
So here's my fix. Every Star Wars movie in the original trilogy basically follows the same two-part structure. Part one, they're on one planet. Part two, they're on another planet. Part one, they're on Hoth. Part two, they split up. They're on Dagobah Bespin. But there's basically the thing. I would make the argument that the second half of this film carries it. You've got the twist. You've got the loss. You've got everything going on there. Yeah. The part on Hoth is okay. It's very much, it could be from any Star Wars movie. It's okay. And what I want to...
I love it to death, but okay. All right.
Oh, no, I agree. It's good. It's fun. It's adventure. But there's a moment in the battle. Yeah. So they're in these snow speeders. They're fighting the ATT walkers. And Luke loses his gunner, Dak. Right? Yes. And he's like, oh, I lost my gunner. And like the music swells and everything. And you're supposed to feel really sad. But you have no idea who he is. And this, I know, is very similar to your fix from... For
episode 4 with Biggs, right?
That one I forgive a little bit more because we just meet these pilots. They just got there. But Luke has been part of these pilots. He's been hanging out with them. This is his gunner. This is his wingman. This is his guy. You have no idea who he is.
Yeah.
Before this in the movie, Han goes out to save Luke. Nobody else seems to care. They're just like, oh, it's too cold. I hope he's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Luke gets mauled by the Wampa, the ice creature thing.
Mhm.
You don't see any of the other pilots.
No.
So here's what I want to do: add a scene.
Well, the pilots save him. They like go out in snow speeders and like they find Han and Luke together. But okay,
But you don't
keep
know
going.
who's in there, right?
No.
So this is all I want to do.
Well, actually, that pilot's name is Zev Sinesia. He's Rogue 2, but it doesn't matter. That's you need that from a source book. That's not in the movie.
Exactly.
Okay.
So here's what I want to do: add a scene where Luke is recovering from the Wampa attack, and Dak comes in to talk to him, or Luke is in the back of the tank and he's talking to Han. I don't care, but he's just like I'm so sorry that I wasn't there for you. I promise I'm gonna be there for you next time you need me. And it gives the audience introduction to that character, and it heartstrings a little bit more when he dies. It just gives you a little bit more because the only person that you recognize, if you're like a super nerd like us, is Wedge, who makes it. And Wedge, you'll have to take the shot. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But this is Luke's gunner. This is his guy. This is his ride or die. And who is he? I don't know. I don't care.
He's got like a 2-second intro scene where he's like, I could take on the whole empire myself.
Yes.
And then that's it. He's set up as this like little one-off character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just give me something more to show. Because, like, it's interesting. Luke is part of the pilot corps, but not really. He's got his own friends. He's off doing his own thing. Like, the pilot group should be so connected. It should be so full of, like, camaraderie and brotherhood.
Like in the X-Wing books, which are...
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. I like this. I don't know. God, I don't know if I'd have him come in to Luke's room or something afterwards. Like, I'm so sorry I wasn't there. Maybe have like Han like round up like a posse of only like 2 or 3 people who want to go out and look for him. Maybe like, oh, we can't take the speeders out in the snowstorm. To hell with that. We're gonna go. And so like Wedge and a couple other people, including Dak, go do it.
Yeah, and all he has to say is like one line, like, I'm his gunner. I'll be there for him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that would be so good. Because then it gives the death meaning or whatever. They don't even shoot him in the snowspeeder. Not with the laser. Like the camera doesn't shoot him very well in the snowspeeder. He's only on screen for like a couple of seconds, and some of his dialogue is 80 yard onto a helmet that's like standing there, and you can only see like the side of it, and it's not moving. So like the guy just like 80 yard his lines in later. They don't spend time on that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really damn good fix.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Well, what's yours? What's your fix to this gem of a movie?
So I talked about the cave. The cave's fine. It's God, like I thought for like the last 3 weeks, it's like, oh, I don't know about my other picks for the Star Wars movies, but like Empire Strikes Back, I'd fix the cave. I have no idea what I would do to make it better. So forget about that. There's a scene later on, right after Han gets frozen, because they do this thing where they're like ambiguous over like whether or not he can live through being frozen.
Yeah. Okay.
Like they like Vader's like, oh, it would be, be unfortunate if he dies or something. No, Boba Fett's like, what if he doesn't survive? He's worth a lot to me. And then later in the special editions, they ADR with the guy who was Jango Fett from the prequels. So he's like, what if he doesn't survive? He's worth a lot to me.
Original dialogue, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so they're like, oh my God, he might not live through this. That's scary. But immediately after he gets frozen, he's like, oh, he's frozen.
They show his life sign kind of beeping on the side. Yeah,
it's kind of beeps on the side. Lando kneels down. And he's like, oh, he's alive and in perfect hibernation. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess he's fine. And it would be so much better with the tension. It would freak kids out if you didn't know if he was dead in there. Like,
so you're just saying cut that bit from Lando.
Cut that bit from
frozen. Mm-hmm. They take him off. You're like, are they rescuing? Like, are they going to actually rescue him? Even if they get him, is he going to be alive, or is he just going to be like this frozen corpse? Yeah. Ooh, that's kind of creepy.
Yes, because I mean, yeah, I think it increases the desperation to save him.
Yeah.
And it sets up, well, honestly, I think that it sets up the first act of episode 6, which we'll talk about next, just a little bit better. Just a little bit better, because
Yeah.
you don't know if he's alive. But as it is, it's like, oh, he's fine in there. He's taken out. Also, it gives Harrison Ford the option not to return, which he
Yeah.
wanted.
Yeah. I think he very much, yeah.
Yeah. I know that you have, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this man has not seen the sequel trilogy, which I agree with
Now
him
that you've
on.
said that, we're going to get so many angry comments.
I was
Like
going to come
more
out
than
sooner or
anything
later.
I've messed up so
It
far.
was gonna come out sooner or later, but like this man has not seen the sequel trilogy, and I agree with him that it's not worth it in most aspects. But episode 7, I think, is pretty all right. And Han finally dies in episode 7.
Mm-hmm.
He bites the dust, and I think that that's the best thing about that movie, is that they kill Han. I think that the best part about each one of the movies of the sequel trilogy is the person of the main 3 that they kill off. Oh God, I'm gonna get hate mail for that. But like the idea that Han could be dead in the ice, I would have bawled my eyes out as a kid.
Yeah.
Also, you would have, like, ticket sales for Return of the Jedi would have gone through the roof.
Yeah.
Like,
Because you want to know.
Yes, exactly.
Back.
You don't put Han in any of the trailers for Return of the Jedi. You don't know if he's there. It's all very cryptic and all of this kind of stuff. And you go from there. Yeah, that's what I'd do. I'd make Han maybe dead. And of course we can bring him back anyway, but like I'd make him maybe dead.
Yeah, it's science fiction. You can do anything, but all right, audience, please sound off in the comments. Do you care about Luke Skywalker? Do you care if you know that Han is alive or dead? What do you think about the cave scene? Is it cool? Is it stupid? What do you
Lame
want
as
to do?
hell.
What would you fix about the greatest Star Wars movie of all time? Or tell us why it's not the greatest Star Wars movie of all time. Tell us we're idiots, but be nice.
Be nice, please.
Yeah,
we're the ones out here on the internet, putting our heart and soul into this. And all you have to do is write a comment. So be civil in there. These are the comment sections below the videos that are going to get the most heated.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay.
We look forward to them, and like, subscribe, all of that, and we'll see you next time for Return of the Jedi. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and yeah, we hope that you're having a great day.
See ya.